One thing we've yet to talk about are the differences between standard and heavy-duty springs. Again, we sell all our shocks with those available, but a rule of thumb when you're trying to help a customer which one to choose, if their body weight, solo body weight is 250 or higher, or they ride 2 up more than half the time, you're guaranteed go the heavy-duty route. They'll appreciate you for it, and they'll appreciate the ride. But, and this sounds funny, but I do mean this, if they weighed 249 pounds, or they ride 2 up only 49% of the time, go with the standard spring. It's so much easier to put more preload into the spring, a standard rate spring, to get it adjusted properly, because a heavy-duty spring starts heavy-duty and gets firmer. You can never make it softer. So for ride comfort, you're better off with the standard spring, knowing that they won't be riding 2 up all the time, and they can adjust accordingly. So you make them, or help them make the mental note, you're riding solo, 2 turns or 2 clicks. Riding with your significant other, 4 turns, 4 clicks. Quick review, I always like to call the 412 series is for that rider who thinks 60 miles is a long ride. Obviously, any of the shocks will work for them, but if you're trying to match features and benefits to their needs and wallet capabilities, then that's kind of what this slide is intended to do. The short distance rider can really benefit without breaking the bank on a 412 series shock. If you're looking at a ride quality improvement but a look, a 430 is a great option. For the one that rides down to the West Coast and back every Saturday morning kind of thing, you would definitely want to do a 440. And then the others, it's either the looks or you gotta slam your ride kind of a opportunity. New for 2010 is our Ultra Touring shock. This is a upgrade, if you will, to the 440 series. It is the 440 damper, and it has a new gnarly black adjustment collar here and spring collar on the bottom. But what's really neat about this, those customers that come to you and say, hey, I want to slam my ride, but I want it to ride better, those are the ones we usually try to walk away from as quickly as possible because they just don't get it. But this is really affording you the ability to satisfy that request. It's offered in only one SKU. It's only for baggers. It starts out as a 13-inch shock, so it's a 13-inch damper. But if you recall the drop-in fork spring technology with the soft compensator spring concept, we take the standard 13-inch spring, throw it away, and we put in a 12-inch spring. So now you got a gap to fill. And we do that with this soft compensator spring. And literally what happens, you take it out of the box, you put it on the bike, and the weight of the bike alone will compress this spring to a solid exactly 1 inch lower. So what you now have is a 12-inch shock, but with full 3 inches of travel like a 13-inch shock. What's really neat about that is, like we talked earlier in the presentation, for every ½ inch we lower the shock, you're lowering the saddle about 3/4 of an inch. So in this example, this being an inch shorter shock, the seat's 1.5 inches lower, about that much. So that customer who comes to you and says, hey, I got to lower my bike 1 inch or 2, you've got the perfect opportunity to do so without sacrificing any travel. Because essentially what we've done now is preloaded, preset to preload. Now granted, depending on the rider's weight and riding tendencies, you still have the hand adjustable preload feature so you can fine tune it. But all you've done now is put that travel in 1 inch to get the look without compromising the ride. Catch, Chris. You want to toss this again? That is an example, so you'll see the spring is already fully compressed. That's just a visual to show you what happens when it's installed on the bike. And those retail $40 more than what the current 440s are. But it's only one SKU, and it's only that bagger application. Certainly if there's interest, desire, emails, calls from consumers or from dealers, we'll look at other applications, but right now that seemed to be a real good targeted, good fit. This is the one that everyone's raving about. We just want your orders. Harley-Davidson in 2002 to 2005, I guess you'd call it, did an experiment. And to your point, we were talking about, you know, Öhlins and front ends, higher tech front ends that utilize cartridges. There's a number of high-end bikes out there that have cartridges in both legs up front that work really well. And Harley attempted it with a cartridge in only one leg in that 3 years or 4 years of application. But it utilizes it, that cartridge utilized the oil that was in the tube as opposed to an actual sealed unit. So its performance wasn't the best, and if any of you are familiar with riding a bike that had that, it had a really bad front end dive. In fact, all FL's front ends from about 97 to 2010 have a front end dive when you apply the brake or aggressively corner. So we took a look at that and came to learn as well that Harley is not servicing that cartridge any longer. So now you've got a number of owners from 02 to 05 that have very limited options available to them. And you have a whole lot of number of owners from 97 to 2010 that have an issue that could really be improved upon. So that's what led us to developing this.